Richard Rellis here with columnist Bob Robb. I guess we shouldn't be surprised that Joe Biden's proposed budget is different from President Trump's proposed budget. But Bob, you're saying this is really a stark relief, and you're pointing out what you find some alarming trends here in what Joe Biden is proposing.
In fairness to Biden, he put within his platform what he is proposing in his budget. But that wasn't what the 2020 election was about. It was about whether to renew the Trump soap opera contract or get rid of it. And I do believe that this constitutes a huge economic gamble. It's a massive increase in taxation, a massive increase in spending, a massive increase in borrowing. In ways that are unprecedented in the post-World War II economy. And I don't think that's what voters were demanding when they elected Biden as president.
Right, and I guess, as you said on the campaign trail, he may have made allusions to these things, references to these things, but the election campaign, as you point out, it was not about these fine points of fiscal policy. It was about what some voters might have seen as getting back to normal politics they can avoid. Do you think people are going to start paying attention to what he's trying to do?
I think that is beginning. I mean, you're talking about moving the federal government's role in the economy from what had been a ceiling in the post-World War II era of 20% of gross domestic product. And he proposes to increase that to 25%. Federal deficits would be more than $1 trillion a year endlessly, even though he's projecting a fairly stable economy. At the same time, you have the Federal Reserve, the Fed, buying up most of the annual new debt that the government issues. This is known in economic circles as monetizing the debt. While there's some progressive economists who think that modern central banks can manage that indefinitely, historically, it has not had a happy ending. And again, these are proposals that are being made not to fix the economy as it currently exists, but on the assumption that within a year or two, the economy is fixed. But we still have, throughout this 10-year planning horizon, such a significant increase in the federal government's role in the economy, and the assumption that we will still have low interest rates on the federal debt, and there won't be any negative economic consequences, such as inflation that becomes troublesome.
Right, and I guess that's where, as you talk in the column, this isn't, in your view, just a difference in fiscal policy. You think there are ramifications that should merit the public's attention.
Yes, for one thing, the buying spree that the Federal Reserve has engaged in consists mostly of federal debt instruments and mortgage-backed securities. These are precisely the investments that are attractive to small savers and fixed income investors. So we have been artificially reducing the return on those investments by this massive buying spree that the Fed has been engaged in. So in essence, the Fed had a policy of over a decade of screwing small savers. I think there's a moral aspect of that hasn't received sufficient notice. But this is a major change in the federal government's role in our economy. And we also have the Medicare hospitalization trust fund that runs out of money in 2026. Social Security Trust Fund runs out of federal IOUs in 2034. And we're using up all this capacity before we've solved those problems. That strikes me as reckless.
So if the alarm bell needed to be rung, Bob, it looks like you've successfully rung it this week.
At least for those that read the column.